Hello, and welcome to episode 82 of the 21 Handshake Marketing Podcast. Today, we're talking about branding as it relates to your target audience. Now, if you recall, talking about brand is the second step in our 9-step digital marketing blueprint. We love to talk about branding, and we talk about it usually like in a very broad sense around here. We have not only 1 or 2 episodes on branding, but we have 3 branding podcast episodes in our podcast library. So we've covered branding a lot, and each time we talk about it slightly different because it is such a broad topic, just like market research is such a broad topic. So we covered why branding is more than just your logo in episode 12. We talked about why you need to build a personal brand in episode 13. So that would be like not a company brand, but your own individual like brand for yourself. And then in episode 70, we talked about brand story video, which is a huge part of step 2 of our digital marketing blueprint. But we still feel like, actually we know that there's more to talk about when it comes to branding. And that's why today we are talking about actionable steps to build a brand vision. But first, if you're new here, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sarah, account manager, also podcast host.
I'm Ashley, also an account manager.
My name is Alex. I am a creative manager.
So we are talking about branding because this actually we posted a quote on our Instagram and it really kind of made us think. And if you're not following at 21 Handshake on Instagram, go do it. It went something like this. Marketing is the equivalent of asking someone on a date. Branding is the reason they say yes. That's so true.
It's such a good quote.
Such a good quote. So that might seem a little superficial at first, like what? But it totally makes sense. So think back to the time when you were dating or you got asked out on a date. At the surface level, you're like, am I attracted to them? Do they look nice? Do they smell nice? Do they have kind eyes?
But also that's all you have to go off of.
Yeah, you're just kind of assessing them. You know, that's like you said, that's all you have to go off of. And then you might quickly run through these questions like, do I know any of their friends? You might look them up on social media real quick, run to the bathroom real quick and do that or something if you're out at the bar. Are we interested in the same things? Have I noticed this person somewhere else? Maybe I've noticed them out and about somewhere. Are they ran in the same circle with somebody else? You might notice the color they're wearing at the time that they ask you on a date. And all of this starts influencing us, whether we're paying super close attention to these signals or not. And I would say we're not even, but we're just kind of like running through this checklist that we don't even know we have. And we are assessing them with our physical senses. And that's true. We're listening, we're watching. That same thing applies to when people interact with your brand. They don't even know this checklist that they're running through, but they are. And whether you like it or not, the brand is the first thing that a prospect is going to encounter and interact with. And just like dating, you aren't going to appeal to everybody. You only need to appeal to your target audience with the brand. And in episode 12, we talked about how your brand is more than just a logo. And it's so true. And we brought up that quote then, and it's still relevant, so I'm going to bring it up again. It's from Nicholas Kuzmich. And he said, brand is not your logo, your color. Brand is the perceived desire that you wish your marketplace had about you and or your business. Your brand resides in the minds of people you are communicating to. So brand has so much depth. Like I said, first you're kind of appealing to those physical senses. And then, they start running through like, well, do they know my friends? Do they know this? Have I seen them in other places? A brand, you might quickly Google, what articles are popping up on the internet about them? So you start, there's just all this stuff that goes into it. And that's why we're talking about it again. So how do you discover what your brand vision is and then make goals to get there? You're in for a treat today because we're going to do a mini brand workshop on ourselves. And we're going to do this live right now. And we haven't really talked much about how this is going to go. So this will be a real treat for all of us.
It's going to be very authentic.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're so authentic. And again, if you're interested in doing this for your own business, this is step 2 of our digital marketing blueprint. It's also included in our coaching by 21 Handshake. So be sure to check out 21handshake.com/coaching, as we still have a few spots in our beta program left. So let's dive into Brand Workshop 101. All right. Ooh, we all got chills. All right, Alex, in one sentence, how would you describe 21 Handshake as a brand?
So when I think about brand, and we do a lot of brand stories and a fair amount of brand work and audits and all that kind of stuff. The way that I think about brand is, so I think, like you mentioned earlier, some people associate brand with just the logo and the colors and maybe the website, things like that. But then you also mentioned it's this mental checklist that you're going through. And at the end of the day, all of these things are leading you towards kind of a not interested, no thank you, or a okay, what's next, or yes,
That's
potentially
intriguing.
I'm interested. Yeah.
Right. You caught my attention. I want to know more.
Right. So it is all boiling down to kind of a feeling, and brand is the way that I look at brand is how a company, service, product makes you feel. So that being said, the one sentence that I have written out about 21 Handshake's brand is a small group of fun, strategic-minded individuals who care about service and striving to make marketing simple for our clients. And I think those are the things for those who have worked with us. I would hope that's kind of what I'm thinking that they would say.
Right.
I think we would all agree via StrengthsFinder. We know that this is the case. We are all strategic-minded individuals. I would say we're a pretty fun, fairly relaxed group of people to work with. This is by no means a corporate culture. Or a very stiff culture. and I do think that we have great service. Now I know, we say show me, don't tell me a lot of the times, but I think we are maybe even like overly communicative at times. I think if you message one of us, you're going to get a message back. It's not like oh boy, I sent 21 Handshake an email. Let's see when people get back to us. So I think it's a friendly, it's a fun atmosphere. And at the core of what we're trying to provide to our clients is that simplified way to do marketing. Marketing itself can still be complicated, but we want our clients to experience is more of a simplicity.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that.
So that's how I arrived at that one sentence.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I really like that definition. So Ashley, what value do we provide our audience?
So I would say from like a 1,000-foot view, it's knowledge and resources, right? So we've done a lot in the marketing, I was gonna say marketplace, but we've tried a lot of different strategies, a lot of different tactics. We're constantly, trying new things and reading up on the new platforms, new algorithms. Like, we have a lot of knowledge of what's going on in our industry, as well as what's working and what's not, which is really valuable to maybe like other companies who don't have someone as in tune with what's going on. So I would say knowledge is definitely something that our company provides a great service to. The other one is resources. So most of our clients don't have a marketing team. That's why they've hired it externally. That's not something that they want to dedicate their budget to. If they do, they might have one marketing person. And if you've listened to the podcast or know anything about marketing, that's a lot to put on one person. So
right.
By hiring 21 Handshake, you get a marketing team. And so we have the resources to execute some of those strategies, whereas it might be really, really expensive and time consuming for them to do internally.
If you hired a brand strategist and a videographer and a web developer and an SEO specialist
and a social media manager and like a strategic,
those are all the different
5
roles.
different salaries.
Exactly.
With benefits, probably. That's a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
So for the cost of, probably
Have
what would be
one.
less than one person, you get access to this whole team.
Yeah. And I think,
those services.
when it comes back to what value do we provide our audience, it actually goes back to what Alex said, making marketing simple for our clients. That's like truly like our goal and what we put a lot of effort into. So, part of the biggest value might be taking off the stress of marketing off of our clients.
I think that's huge because they have roles that they're trying to do, business goals that they're trying to do, and we take the marketing, away from their plate. They can still have a role in it, a say in it. Of course, it's their business.
They still determine the goals that we're working towards.
It's going to be a big stressor for them anymore.
They know it's being handled.
Exactly. Or, they don't have to go out and learn it all themselves.
Yes.
When they need to go work on other different parts of their business.
Absolutely.
So what industry, I guess, are we involved in?
Okay, so is this question about our client base or ourselves?
This would be ourselves.
So I would say we are in the marketing industry.
Right,
Content.
which is so broad.
So broad. I would say, so digital marketing, more specific, right? Online marketing.
Yes.
Right. I would not say our strength is billboards, not that type of marketing, not event planning, not event planning marketing. I think it's very easy to rule out here what we are not.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. So what we are not event planner marketers. We don't
do trade shows.
Yeah, we're not even. Now we've done this for clients, but it's not a strength of ours to handle printing flyers and mailing them out.
Yeah,
I mean, any type of magazine ad. That's probably not going to be our thing. We can come up with one, but it's not our strength.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. We have done a little bit of each of those, but usually our strength is digital, as well as we see just so much benefit in it, in terms of budgeting for our clients. So we can do a lot more on digital than we could with a budget for traditional. So
we believe you get more value for your dollar.
Correct.
Exactly. Doing small branding workshops like this would be in scope. If you are a huge, maybe Nike-like company, probably you need to go hire a huge branding company, as we're not going to dive that deep into brand. So I guess, we say we're in marketing, digital marketing.
I would also say, we do a lot of strategic consulting, which I think I'm jumping ahead of myself, but
that's
the
good.
next question is, what is 21 Handshake good at? What do we pride ourselves with? It's being really strategic.
Yes.
And so, I would say, are we in the strategic marketing industry? I don't know.
Think
but
that's a good definition for us, strategic marketers.
Yeah, I think
or
strategic digital
consulting.
Marketers, yeah.
Strategy is the foundation of how we get started with really any type of project, whether
100%.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're definitely idea creators, and we like to put a lot of ideas out there and to the businesses we work with. And whether we decide to actually execute on those, we have ideas out there, and I think that's why people do come to us. They're like, I don't know, what do I do here in this? And suddenly we're like, well, we have 5 ideas for you. And
sometimes it takes a removed perspective too, to see new opportunities and potential or pitfalls and things like that. So we can definitely be helpful in that way.
I mean, I would even say, to be authentic, that's something that a trap that we fall into ourselves.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, when you're living within it all the time, it's difficult to remove yourself and look at it from that outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's very true.
All right, so we are strategic consulters. Was that a word?
Consultants?
Consultants. There we go. Strategic consultants with a huge digital marketing
philosophy.
I like that. We should be writing this down, guys, as we're doing this. So when we think about attributes of our brand, and this is kind of a fun exercise, and you guys just call it out what you think. We'll go on a scale here. So 21 Handshake personality and attributes. Are we a necessity or a luxury or somewhere in between?
This is actually an interesting question, because I feel like anyone not in marketing or even familiar with our client base, which is very traditional B2B, or it used to be, very traditional B2B companies would probably instinct be say luxury, right?
Yeah.
Or the people who would say luxury might be those who would have never experienced really good marketing before
For sure.
themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we also have clients, and I would argue that we can veer more on the side of necessity. You know, we're talking about a scale. Because, I mean, we even have clients who have come to us and said, if we don't grow, we will be out of business. Like, we need to grow, and the only missing piece we have is marketing. And so at that point, it becomes a necessity.
Right. And on the flip side of that, we do have some clients that are doing very well for themselves. They're just like, we just kind of want to shore things up a little bit.
For sure.
Make sure things are consistent. The messaging is consistent across platforms. But I would say, to answer that question specifically, probably leaning towards the side of necessity.
Yeah, I would definitely lean towards necessity.
Yeah.
I've never seen a successful business that is operated without marketing.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say marketing is a necessity. So when we would put ourselves on a expensive or economical
I feel like this is a touchy subject.
It is very touchy, and
we before this episode we said we were going to be authentic and transparent. So this is a tough question to answer, and I feel like we veer towards the side of economical, even though maybe we shouldn't be.
I think there's, with our kind of
that's a hard question.
I don't know,
actually.
I think
redone mission, like we kind of have two avenues.
right. So
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think that most people looking from the outside would consider us on the expensive side. But when we justify that with, like I mentioned, all the different services that we provide for the cost of what maybe you would pay one single marketing person, then it becomes much more understandable, why
The value is
value and why the price is what it is.
Exactly.
That being said, there are still a lot of people that come to us that we can't help, from a full service perspective, and which is why, in the last several episodes we've been talking about the coaching program, which is designed to be on the more economical side.
Yes.
It's designed to not cost as much. You don't get all of the execution that you get from the full service side.
Exactly.
But you still get access to the brains and to the strategic minds that we've talked about, and accountability as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would definitely say though that we do not veer on the expensive side. Like, we are not far.
Right.
there.
I think when people hear marketing agency, it sounds a bit scary, as a business that maybe is just a medium-sized business. Like agency, wow, it seems like very big city-ish.
Totally. And I think that's the assumption that, or the stereotype that most people have, is maybe like Mad Men, or, oh my God, they work in New York City and work with companies like Ford or Apple. There's no way we could ever afford that.
Exactly.
But there are agencies designed to work with companies of any size.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, that's what I think of that too. Like, it's like those more mid-sized companies that are what we like to work with.
Yeah.
I go back to, like, I don't know why this popped into my mind, but when I worked in tourism and Michigan was coming up with the Pure Michigan slogan.
Such a good campaign.
They hired this huge company to roll this out, but that's what's needed. That's a state rollout of a whole new marketing campaign. That would never be something in the 21 Handshake wheelhouse.
Right.
That's a big, expensive, campaign, and they did a great job, and you need a bigger agency with tons of those resources to do that.
Right.
And that's kind of not where our wheelhouse falls.
Totally. And talk about a campaign that has had incredible success and longevity.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that's more than 10 years ago.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
I
it's-
think
they rebranded
this is the
that.
last year that they're doing it. I think they're retiring that campaign.
Are they?
I heard. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, what? It started with Great Lakes, Great Times, and then went to Pure Michigan.
And the Tim Allen.
Exactly,
Pure
the Tim
Michigan.
Allen era. But that got a little overdone fast. But anyways, so let's quickly run through this. Are we light or are we serious?
Lighter side.
Yeah,
Definitely light.
Definitely a lighter side. We want marketing to be fun.
Yes.
Are we formal or are we casual?
Casual.
Yeah, well, and I'm not just talking about how we dress, but I mean, like, our personality. We're not like,
Right.
we're not that formal agency
Yeah.
that did the
Right.
Pure Machine campaign, let's say. Are we commonplace or exotic? That's kind of an interesting one.
What does that really mean?
I would say neutral on that, but that's more because I don't have a good answer for it.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Like,
Well, I guess like maybe exotic, like you're really out there with your ID. Oh, sorry, I'm tapping. I've been told not to tap this with my hands. I would think like
outside of the box, like really,
yes.
yeah.
Your ideas are so revolutionary that it's only going to be like certain brands that are going to be able to like.
I would say neutral,
Yeah.
but maybe like a little bit towards exotic, just because most of our ideas and concepts are pretty foreign to, the clients that we work with, or, they're just like not familiar,
Right.
or have never really even thought of it, or it's uncharted territory. So, it can feel exotic.
Exactly. Let's see some other ones here. Are we homemade or high tech?
High tech for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I mean, not so high tech that we're the engineers in the back room.
I think by high
We're
tech, I
relatable.
mean, we use technology in almost every aspect of the company. I
Right.
think is more of what I meant.
But I would not put us in the category of like data scientists. I would
Agreed.
say we can explain data, but we are not so deep into like the.
We're not statisticians.
Yes, exactly. So I think there's a balance there. Modern or classic?
Modern,
Side.
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I would definitely say we veer towards that versus classic. Again, not the traditional, we're not running your print ads, so type of thing. Are we quiet or loud?
I would say. What were you gonna say?
I don't know.
I think
Neutral?
that we,
Neutral,
I
yeah.
don't know, I think I would love for us to be louder, but I think that
think
we're
that's
on
a
the
good point.
quieter side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
would
maybe
agree.
our brand vision should move towards louder as we talk about being more visible. Are we bright or subdued?
Bright. You've seen the colors of our walls?
Yeah.
on the video.
Have you seen these chairs we're sitting in? They're orange. We like bright colors. They're
Yes.
energizing.
Interesting. Bright but quiet.
Yeah, and I think so. Then, doesn't really line up, does it?
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this brand of
Yeah.
thing on us. The next one I think would go in the same thing, colorful or black and white. And I think that
Colorful.
we're colorful, but also colorful in our thinking, whereas we don't have a black and white thinking. Like, not everybody's
always-
going to fit into the same box. Yes, we have the 9-step digital marketing process, but even that we've been talking about lately, how there's very much a lot of variables in each of those 9 steps. That's kind of applicable depending on the business that we're working with. Like, everybody kind of fits into this, but then the steps might be done a little bit differently for each one.
Not everybody has to start with the foundation of each step.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
people already do some of the steps well.
Yeah. Are we feminine or masculine?
I have no idea.
I would say more masculine, I think.
Yeah.
In
I
terms
don't-
of who we serve, I would say.
But we're not a real girly brand.
Yeah.
Which I would say like definitely neutral, but maybe more masculine, but only because most of our industries that we serve are
Yeah.
But I think our
predominantly
brand
men.
as a whole, though, we're not
girly at all.
we're not girly.
But it's not like we're so masculine.
Right. Well, and also put like we're not real like emotional type
Yeah.
of, like we're colorful, but and we don't think everything has to follow this black and white process,
Yeah.
but would say we're not touchy-feely
Yeah.
for the fact that like when we lay out a strategic process, there's not a lot of touchy-feely stuff. It's like, let's do this, let's get it done.
True.
Type of thing. So, woo, wow, that was really fun. I don't know where that leaves our brands at, but it was fun to talk about. So, Alex, what are some things that we could improve at? And we can even just talk about what we just talked about, that sliding scale list there.
Well, in my notes, and to your point, the loud versus quiet, I think we could probably be a little bit louder.
Yeah.
I think showing the personality, we could show more of the personality and the friendliness and the fun side of our team. I think that people who know us really like us,
Yeah.
and people who we work with like us. mostly.
But it takes an introduction and getting to know us to realize that.
Right. So how can we do that better? How can we become more top of mind for people who aren't doing the services that we need, but they know that they're considering doing those? We are top of mind for people who know us, but how can we get more top of mind with, a positive image for those who might not know us yet? So, if I was just, thinking out loud, if we want to do more business in West Michigan, how can we become better known to be that top of mind consideration for a company that's looking to potentially work for a digital marketing agency?
Yeah, I think that's good. We need to get louder about ourselves.
Yeah.
Like you said, show the faces of all of us. I think we have a very collaborative, small team here, and that's how I describe us to people. Like, our intention is not to be big. We're a small team,
right?
But we all need to take kind of ownership of who we are and all be a little bit more louder with it.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are some things that are getting in the way of our improvement?
I think it's, as with any company, it's difficult to take your own medicine. Like, you just get caught up
100%.
with doing services for your clients, or, working on throughout the day, especially, if you don't have time blocked off to work on yourself, you're always like putting out a fire here, or, addressing that thing that pops up in Slack that's relating to a client. Because of course you want to take care of your clients first.
Exactly.
And it's so easy to let your own services slide to the wayside.
It almost feels like selfish to think about ourselves and, put all this time and effort into branding and growing ourselves when we have all these, paying clients who are looking to us for guidance, and, we can be spending our time freaking them. It's really hard, but I don't think that's unique to our business. I think that's really
or to a lot of businesses.
Especially in the service space, especially in services.
Yeah.
You always feel like you need to go, like you said, but then at the same time, if you're not working on yourself, you're not getting more of, clients that you want to get. So those are some things. I think, at least for myself, I know one thing is I live quite far away. So coming down to be collaborative, which I feel like is great for our office, and we pride ourselves on that we get to do our work wherever. But, I feel like sometimes that can also be a downside as well, because we aren't here every day. And maybe we would be putting more focus on more of our own brand if we were together more often.
I agree. I totally agree. I am blown away when I hear about companies that work entirely remotely. Like, I heard Basecamp, the project management company, was built entirely with a remote staff. That just, I definitely feel energy when we're all together, or that I can feed off of that energy a little bit more so than when we're just, working remotely for several days at a time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we get things done better, or the creative juices flow more.
Right.
And it is amazing to me that there are companies, though, that somehow do make that work. Granted, I'm sure we don't have the whole picture of that, but
and we have actually a lot of clients who are remote to us, right, across the country, and that has actually been pretty successful. We have a lot of tools to bridge that gap in terms of communication, but even with some of our local clients, we've started talking about maybe we should meet together more consistently face to face, because we were kind of feeling the same thing. Is we would get a lot of this done more faster, and I think get more benefit out of it when we're sitting together once a week face to face, when we're all super energized and all of our brains are together, and we're being really collaborative. So much good comes out of that. I want more.
Yes.
So that's something I think the company, as a whole, is working on.
Right. I think we could be more louder when we're together.
More. For sure.
Definitely. So kind of, we might skip through some of this and not quite go into detail on some of these, just for a time aspect here. So, but what do you think our audience, our target audience, our clients would say that we're really good at?
It goes back to being strategic. I sat in a meeting this morning solely based on strategy. That was not something, that's just something that a client asked for. Hey, we need to get it better at this process. Can you be involved, because we need your brains? That.
And again, it comes back to you were able to sit down in person with them and talk to them too.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So do you think that they would say, we wish you were better at something?
If they have, they have not told us.
We're good at a lot. So, no.
I don't know.
That's a difficult one to answer. It's something that I guess I don't think about actively that often, because I think what we do is usually kind of like a level or two above where most of our clients are in terms of executing marketing. And so just by nature of like what we do is just like so much better than what they were trying to do previously.
Yeah.
I think maybe we could ask more actively for feedback on how we have done things in the past, or how they thought a campaign went, or how, even if it's like a specific video, what would you have changed about this? There are sometimes when I get videos back from revision and the client says like, okay, no, like, looks good. I'm like, there's got to be something.
Yeah, didn't you have an opinion? Did you watch it?
Did you even watch it? So maybe that's something that we could be better at.
I feel like, and this is always learning, and I always have my own kind of personal goals to learn, but I wish that we could sometimes connect the dots better, and I think that's just a huge marketing issue overall with people. Like, you wish you could connect where your leads are coming from. You wish you could connect to Google Analytics better, or, I forgot to put a UTM on that, and now I have no clue where that traffic was coming from, or who. And I think that's always a goal I know that I strive is to learn. And sometimes I don't understand all those pieces because it gets a little techy.
Yeah.
And we have great contractors and stuff that we work with even as a team. But sometimes I feel like I wish I could sit down with a data person and they could just like walk through like how I connect all these pieces, because I can fumble my way through it, but like knowing a clear path every time would be just like ideal for me.
It's kind of the holy grail of marketing, is to be able to like look at one place and understand, and be able to connect that website view to, was that revenue, or did somebody come in my door?
Yeah.
Because of that.
It's always something that I think in marketing we're striving for.
Yeah.
So all right, so Alex, what is a brand role model of yours and why?
Just maybe more recency bias, but I think the whole Kobe Bryant passing I think it really sort of brought to the forefront again his brand. And I think what a lot of people are going to remember him as is not just a basketball player, but his whole work ethic. I mean, that's the first thing that everybody talks about when they talk about Kobe Bryant, whether it's his friends, teammates, like how much time he put into the things that he cared about. And for him, it was basketball and family. And it's not like all these people got together and said like, what was the common thing that we all thought about Kobe? Like all these people, this is all these people's individuals' opinion, and they're all saying the same thing. Yeah. Like I don't think brand gets any stronger than, and that association with a characteristic or a feeling is stronger than like what Kobe Bryant did with what with basketball and family and work ethic.
Right. So I think then according to that, so when you say like he was known for basketball and family, like you knew what he stood for.
Yes.
You knew where his passion was.
Totally.
You weren't going to go to him and say, "Can you teach me golf?"
Right. There was and it was so strong. There's no second guessing that ever.
Yeah.
It was so strongly ingrained in his brand.
Yeah.
And that's
cool.
Yeah.
So I think definitely a lesson to be learned there, and we'll talk about this in a second here, is kind of like just knowing who you are, what you stand for, and then like how do you get there as a brand. So, oh man. So I think let's just kind of just dive into that. So working off of that Kobe Bryant of he knew who he was, he knew what he stood for, he knew what his brand was. So how do we translate that into, but going back, Alex, to your definition of 21 Handshake, that we're a small group of fun, strategic-minded individuals who care about service and striving to make marketing simple for our clients. But then kind of combining that with this brand vision of, we need to be a little louder. We need to be, I don't know, what do we say, more colorful a little bit. And not just like colorful as in visual. So what are like steps that we can take to kind of incorporate that? So we are a group of strategic-minded people who love to help make marketing simple for our clients. So I would say that's like our brand vision, where we want to be. So like, what are some steps that we can take to like get there? I mean, we're already kind of, I would say, there a lot of the way.
We've kind of talked about this over the past few weeks, actually a couple of months, I guess. But
right.
How can we, share our strategic brains and be helpful to more companies in maybe a more affordable way, which, as you know now is kind of coaching by 21 Handshake.
Right.
But that came as a result of, trying to define who we wanted to be and who we wanted to mean, or what we wanted to mean to, companies who work with us. So I think that's like a pretty good example.
Yeah, I think it's definitely starting the programs that we feel passionate about. I think a step that we are in the process of relaunching our homepage of our website that's going to showcase a little bit more of who we are.
Give a much more, or a better 2020 example of year 2020, not Vision 2020, but I guess they're both related. Give a much, I think it will be easier to understand who we are and what we do visiting our new homepage.
Yep.
Right.
And that's just as a result of, over time, we understand better who we want to serve and what we want to do and what we're good at.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's important for when people come to find you that they can
That they
disseminate
understand
that
that too,
information.
yeah.
Definitely. So how fun was that? And of course, one of these kind of brand visions too is actually making ourselves more visible, which we're also doing on the podcast this year by videoing. So thank you for listening or watching. There are so many ways to go about determining your brand vision, but we like simple. We even use that, and I think when Alex kind of crafted that statement, he didn't know later that I would be saying that we like simple. So this is just, I think our brand vision is just that this collaboration when we are together in a room is so great. And we know we moved through this fast, and usually you would want to take a couple hours to go through this type of exercise.
We did do a lot of groundwork before this. I will say
exactly, one would say we've been working on our brand for months now.
Yeah.
So, and really to go in that. So we definitely would advise you taking more time to go through that. We will put all this in our show notes. Try to get a worksheet up there as well with these items that we talked about. So you'll definitely want to check that out in our podcast show notes. So next episode, we're going to continue to talk about brand by presenting a brand audit that you can do. So now that you have a vision for your brand, what pieces do you have to support the brand? It includes internal pieces and external pieces. It's going to be fun. You're going to want to check that episode out next. So did you like this brand exercise? If you did, I know Ashley's mentioned it, we have our Coach by 21 Handshake program. You can learn more about that at 21handshake.com/coaching. We only have a few spots left, but one of these type of brand exercise is one of the things that we will go over. Now it is coaching, so we're going to kind of present it to you, and then you will need to go back and work with your team on really diving deep into that brand. So definitely connect with us to learn more about the coaching program. It's really just amazing, and we're really having a lot of fun with it. So if you like this episode, we would love it if you took a moment to leave us a review. It really does help spread the word about the podcast. Thanks. Until next time.